everybody, thanks for joining us for another Facebook Live. So we're here at Franklin Park Zoo today. My name is Amy. I'm one of the Animal Ambassador Specialists here at the zoo. And with me I have a very special friend. I have Davy Jones. He is one of our 2 corn snakes that act as our ambassador animals here at the zoo. And we're bringing him out today because we're very excited. This Saturday is World Snake Day, so we wanted to talk to you a little bit more about just how great snakes are. And I mentioned he's one of our ambassador animals, so he is used to coming out for programs, used to being handled. And you can see he's just very curious as he's kind of sticking that tongue out. And you might be a little wondering of why the name corn snake. That seems a little weird. So they actually get their name from maybe 2 different ways. We're not entirely sure of the origin. But these guys are actually commonly found living out in cornfields and woodlands. And in addition to that, I'm also going to kind of hold his belly there so you can kind of see that white and black kind of checker pattern there. So that actually looks a lot like maize, which is something you might see around Thanksgiving. We usually put it up very often as a decoration. So it's kind of that nice corn material. So it's kind of a 2-part name. So what I'm setting him up on right now is our snake pegboard. So we built this so our snakes could get a little bit of exercise and in the sun. He is a really great climber. If you've kind of wondered of how snakes move around, I know a lot of people think they're kind of slimy, but he's actually really silky smooth. And he doesn't slip and slither with any slime or anything. What he does is he just uses those really strong muscles to climb around, and you can kind of see how he's clinging on to all the different branches. So, and he'll get moving in just a moment once he gets a little settled in. And there was one other really cool thing that I was just very excited about this morning. So one of the other things that you may or may not know about snakes is they do shed their skin. So Davy Jones here actually just shed his skin last night. So I brought it out for you. A little bit of it did rip off, but it's a good, you can see just how long he is. So they grow 2 to 4 feet long, which is huge. And when they do that, this is all overnight. He shed this all off in one night. So yesterday he looked just like this, came in, and his shed skin was in his enclosure just this morning. So I wanted to show that to you because it's really cool. It's like really papery when they shed that skin.
Why do they shed their skin?
So they kind of shed their skin as they're kind of like growing. It helps if they ever have any scales that aren't doing really well. It's really kind of as they're continually growing. They kind of outgrow, kind of like a hermit shell will like leave and find a new shell, but they just lose that top layer of skin. So they have scales and things that are like a layer that's underneath. When they're ready to shed, it kind of just that top layer kind of peels free. So it's never like they don't have any skin underneath when they shed. And I mentioned that these guys live out in cornfields, so I'm not sure if that kind of made me think of like, do they eat corn? So they don't go for corn, but there are a lot of animals that do live in cornfields that do like it. So mice, rats, other rodents really love corn, which is an awesome prey item for these guys. So they're not, some snakes are venomous, which means they bite their prey and make them, they use venom to help capture their prey. So corn snakes aren't like that. They are constrictors, so he'll capture and kind of constrict his prey in order to capture it. So he's going to be looking for all those mice, rats. They're also known to go for some eggs and bats as well. So he eats a really nice variety. Here at the zoo, he does eat just some frozen mice that we thaw out for him. So, and he eats only about once a week. So he doesn't eat, these guys, that's a really big meal for them if it's a whole mouse. So it takes him a little bit of time to process and digest that. And we feed him every week, but that doesn't mean he eats every week. Sometimes they can go months without eating. It depends on how hungry he is. But I mentioned they eat the mice and the rats, which are usually a lot of animals that we don't like to have. If you have any kind of if you grow any little plants or tomatoes or even anything in your little backyard or even for the big farms, we really don't want those kind of our crops that we grow for food. So it's really great when you have snakes living in your yard because they eat all those pesky things that we don't like, and it's a lot safer than putting out pesticides. So I would much rather see more snakes in the yard than if you're putting out bait traps to take care of those, because the bait traps can also affect lots of other animals that live in the area. So if you have any hawks or eagles, if they eat a mouse that got into a bait trap, that's gonna possibly make them really sick as well. As if we have snakes, snakes are actually commonly a source of food for hawks and eagles. So it balances out really well and helps make a nice healthy ecosystem. So I can really see his tongue going right now, and he's sticking that tongue out to kind of taste the air and kind of see if there's anything tasty or interesting. It's got a really active tongue going right now.
Liz was wondering how long they live.
So these guys can live to be usually over 10 years and up to 25 years. And actually, a really fun thing, Davy Jones' birthday was actually 5 days ago. So his birthday, or Happy Hatch Day, as sometimes we say with our birds or reptiles, is July 5th. So he just turned, hold on, I gotta double check. I got my little note here. He just turned 7. So he's going to be with us for a very long time yet. And you can see already how big he is. He's got that really nice length. So he's about full grown. He might maybe get a little bit bigger, but we'll kind of see. So, and you can see just how well he's moving and climbing through here. Corn snakes will spend most of their time down on the ground, in the grass, kind of hiding in the bushes, or even if they're kind of decaying logs that are kind of breaking down. They really like those. Those are great homes for them. But they are also great if they want to get up into like a little branch or something, or they got to move over anything. They're really great. They can, so even if one part of their body's hanging down, they can use the rest of their body to easily hang on to a branch. So he is really moving and showing off for you guys this morning. Sometimes we do see their activity pick up a little bit more when they shed. So he's feeling nice and refreshed. He also went to the bathroom this morning. So he basically had a nice snake shower, went to the bathroom. He is feeling refreshed and ready to go. So he seems like he's really enjoying himself this morning.
Does their behavior change with different temperatures?
So these guys do rely on external temperature to kind of keep themselves healthy. So if he's ever feeling a little bit cold, he'll move into either a nice sunny spot or under his heat lamp. I have seen him on really warm summer days completely curl up in his water dish. He's taken his whole body and just coiled up in it with just his little head peeking out, which is a really great way if he's feeling really warm or if he wants to help shed his skin. So sometimes the higher humidity or moisture can help them do that. But in that case, I think it was a really warm day, so it was just a nice, refreshing little dip in the pool, just like we like to. So, and this is really perfect weather for him right now. We have a really nice, warm, sunny day. So this is just ideal temperature for him right now. Yeah, and happy, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. And Jess, my lovely coworker, will read them all for me, so I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has them.
Liz was just commenting again, you were just talking about how the water can help them shed, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So he actually does have a nice humidity chamber where we put some nice damp moss in there that we mist every day. So he has a nice little spot in his enclosure where it's nice and humid, so that kind of helps loosen up the skin when he's getting ready to shed. So it usually takes them, we can tell they're getting ready to go to shed a couple days to a week before they actually fully shed that skin. So we usually call it going blue because we can tell by looking at their eyes, they kind of go a milky, cloudy blue color. So when we do our daily checks, we might check on him in the morning and see his eyes are a little cloudy and milky, which tells us, okay, he's going into shed. So we'll usually put a little tag up so we know he's shedding, and then we usually just let them kind of do their thing and have time to relax, because when they're shedding, they actually can't see really well, because when they shed that skin, they also shed eye caps that go over their eyes. And when it's kind of getting ready to shed, it gets a little cloudy, so it's hard for them to see. So we usually just let them hang out in their enclosure. We don't bring them out for programs during those times, just because if you can't see really well, you might get a little bit nervous if somebody's handling you or taking you out. So we usually let them relax until they shed that skin, and then they're usually ready to go again. Yeah, he is very active this morning. So sometimes we bring him out on the pegboard, and he's just kind of content to kind of find a nice little sunny spot, and he'll kind of just sit and relax, but he is moving all around today. And we do tend to see a lot more activity right after they do shed their skin. They get usually pretty, I don't know. I always feel nice after a really warm day and I get my shower at the end of the day. So I feel it's kind of the same for them. All right. Well, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to throw them into the chat and we will answer them as best we can. But thank you so much for joining us today, and happy World Snake Day on Saturday.